Hey guys, how's it going? Octopus here. Welcome back to Union Cross. We're going to be talking about the stained glass metals number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The OG stained glasses are now able to upgrade into supernova pluses. I want to give you guys a little bit of advice of what to do with these because a lot of you guys last night on stream, I was streaming over on twitch.tv/SmellyOctopus. We were playing Union Cross and this question came up a lot. Should I upgrade the stained glass metals? And my main advice was not really, because of these different situations. They are really good in one place but not the other, but then there's other metals that we just got that are just way better than them. So the answer is kind of no, but it all depends what you guys want to do. There is situations where they are actually going to shine pretty nicely. I'm going to talk about that, but let's go over the banner first. Stained glass number 1, 2, 3, all the banners are exactly the same. You get 1 guaranteed per pull. You need 6 copies if you have none to get this fully upgraded into a supernova plus. The one you pull here is only a 7-star and it's not at its full potential. You need 6 of them to be upgraded, 1 for the base and 5 to evolve. So if you guys already have some of them laying around that are 7 stars, you can minus 1 pull per one you have. Or if you have tons of Mickey and Brooms, you guys can use Mickey and Brooms to upgrade one that's a 6-star into a 7-star by fully guilting it, and then making it level 120 or 100 and throwing it into a 7-star. So you do have options, but if you want to pull fresh, if you have 1 copy, it's a 10,900. If you have to go with more than that, it's another 1,900 on top of that, so like 12,800. So it's up to you what you guys want to do. So that's a big price. 12,800 is a pretty big price. You do get 2 traits per pull and VIP coins, which is nice. So there is that, where you get a total, if you pull 5 or 6 times, you get 10 to 12 different traits, or how many times you are going to pull. So trading these guys, the most important thing is that extra attack, because if it's buffs. If you want to use it at the beginning of the Keyblade setup, you want that extra attack. If you want to use the beginning Keyblade setup with power, you want extra attack with -60 aerial or ground, depending on the enemy you're facing. But banner-wise, banners are great. Fallen price deal, 2 traits, guaranteed metal, and 10 VIP coins. But is it worth it to go for these metals? Now, a lot of these metals bring back a lot of memories. When they first came out, they were like, whoa, these are so good. And then all of a sudden, more metals came out. They're like, oh, stained glass? What's that? But they are really nice looking metals. That's what I want to say about that. A lot of people are just going to pull for it just because of nostalgia, waifu, husbandos, all that good stuff, or just the beautiful artwork. But are they worth it for your setup? So the banners, I like the banners. Now the metals themselves, we're going to start from number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to show you all over here. I can show you my copies too if you want, and what I'm going to do after this. So what kind of power does it have? It's got 30,000 strength, 54. It's got 40.43 multiplier to 56.17. You can only get that 56.17 if it's on the first slot. Once you start moving it from the first slot to the second slot to the third slot to the fourth slot, it starts decreasing that multiplier until you hit that 40. So 56.17 is first slot. So you want this metal to be in the first 2 slots no matter what. If not, you're getting a 40 multiplier, and that's not that great. It can still be done. It can still be used. 40 is not terrible, and as long as the strength is at 30,000, which it is, it's going to do damage. But is it worth it compared to what we have? We'll see. So target AoE, deal 6 hits. For 1 turn, it raises your magic metal strength by plus 1,000, and that's the most important thing because all these metals are exactly the same. Stained glass number 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all at 30,000 strength. They all have the same multiplier, 40.43 to 56.17. The strength's a little off by like 20 or something here, but that's not really important. They all cost 2 gauges and they're all tier 9, so they're all exactly the same. So I'm gonna kind of speed this up a little bit by just telling you that now. The only difference is magic has magic metal strength by plus 1,000. Down here, power strength by plus 1,000. So it all depends which one you guys want to use. And same thing goes for the buffs. Back to stained glass number 1, the buffs are strength, which is general strength, and upright, and magic strength by 10. And then target's defense goes down by 10, and magic defense down by 10. So that's all the same, just the first 2, the reverse and upright. That's the different buffs. Over here, you're going to see it does strength, reverse, and magic 1. That's stained glass number 2. And the way you guys can tell, just look at the border of the metal. Stained glass number 1 has a gold border, that's upright. Stained glass number 2 has that dark black reddish border, that's reverse. So this is going to buff your reverse magic, this is going to buff your upright magic. Number 3 is going to do your upright power, reverse power, all that. So you guys just got to look at it that way. That's the best way to look at it. So what else do we got going on here? That's AoE, not AoE. The supernova is AoE. It's got a multiplier of 200, not 220, so it's already weaker than most metals that are out right now. It's target AoE 1 turn, magic metal strength by plus 2000, strength and magic strength by 7, and targets defense and upright and magic defense down by 7. So if you didn't notice up here, there is no upright defense down. So these guys are lacking on that buff, and that buff is really important if you're trying to use them as your buffer instead of Kyrie or Shion. I'm going to talk about setups in just a second. So they are interesting. They really are. They got a lot of buffs and debuffs, but they're not maxed out, nowhere near, and they're missing buffs in their actual casting, so you can't use them for multiple turns unless you have other metals in the next slots that take care of the uprights and the other buffs. Or even extra attack here, you're going to be missing out on that upright defense down. No matter what, you're missing the upright defense down. So extra attack will get you 20 of everything except for upright defense down, and the supernova only has 1 turn for upright defense down at 7. Or if you're looking at reversed, it's going to be reverse defense down by 7. So you can only use that 1 turn. So you cannot rely on this metal specifically just as a buffer for multiple reasons besides that. The other reason, well, it does have that 208% guilt, which is nice, but almost every attacking metal has that, or just even buffing metals. So back to the buffs. What else are you missing here if you want to use this as a dedicated metal? I'm kind of just transitioning to like if it's worth it compared to what you have already. Like people want to replace this for Kyrie and Shion. Issues are, 1, it doesn't restore HP. So if you have any metals on your Keyblade set up that say I need maximum HP, you just made them weaker. 2, it doesn't restore any gauges. So if you're planning to go with a longer fight, 3 turns, anything that takes multiple turns, more than 1 turn, or just a lot of turns, especially with tanking, this is not going to help you because it's not restoring any gauges to your Keyblade setup. So if your first turn takes all your gauges, you go from like 22 down to 1 or something, you can't even cast this guy because he costs 2. Even if you have attack boost max SP gauge 0 on it, you can't. And if you're using it as your buffer, you're most likely going to put a second chance on it, so it is going to cost 2 gauges regardless. So there's that going on, but that is only in PvE content that this metal can't shine. So let me go show you a Keyblade setup really quick. I have all the metals right there. So Keyblade setup right now, you have your buffer. Kyrie over here, she does all the buffs and the debuffs, not fully maxed out, but extra attack or copying her fixes that. Then she also raises the enemy's counters by 2. She gives you HP, and she restores your gauges, and she cures ailments, meaning paralysis, poison, whatever she can hit, she hits. So she's got everything going on as a buffer and status elements and all that good stuff. Healer. So she's really good as a buffer no matter what. Where if you bring in a stained glass metal, you got to start relying on them to buff everything else for you. But then another metal has to restore gauges. Another metal has to heal you. Something else has to do something for you, and that's not going to turn out so good in 3-turn setups. But in Colosseum, in PvP, in rating, they can actually do pretty good. So if you care about PvP, these metals are solid for the pure reason that their multiplier and strength is extremely high. So not this one, but you know they have 30,000 strength and they've got that 14.79, I believe. Whatever. It turns out to be like the 56 multiplier. That compared to Kyrie's, where you can see she only has a 6.6 and 14,000 or 17,000 strength, or sorry, 15 if you decide to put chips over here. 15 compared to 30,000 in PvP, that's going to make a huge difference in beating someone. That could be the difference from winning and losing, because in PvP, you don't need a way to restore gauges, and you don't need to restore your health. All you need is a buffer, and this guy having all the buffs with extra attack clears that entire Keyblade for you, especially during the PvP setups that are mono Keyblade. So if you're using a magic setup that's reversed because they're making you use that Keyblade, then you use stained glass number 2 here. If you're using stained glass number 1, you're probably using the counterpoint. If you're using stained glass number 3, you're probably using Fenrir, so on and so on. And that way you don't have to rely on Kyrie or Shion for the buffs going on in PvP. So that can turn out really good for you because that's a lot of extra damage instead of a buffer just doing like a couple thousand here and there. So there's that going for these guys. In Colosseum, same thing. It's a 1-turn setup. If these guys are in a proper slot, so let's say if I brought this over here, well, not this Keyblade, but like something like Fairstars or whatever, or Fenrir, like I said, you bring him in for the 8.3, he's going to do damage in the first slot. Same thing with, what's her, do I have a stained glass number 3? I know I have a stained glass number 3 somewhere. I swear I did. She should be right. Here we go. Stained glass number 3. I don't have one fully upgraded, but look. 8.312 in Colosseum. That might actually do some damage depending what round you're in. It could help you with that extra little bit of damage, but later on you are going to need the 9 multipliers, but it all depends what your situation is. This could help. Colosseum not so much, because as you go on you need higher multipliers, higher strength, fully buffed, because the first cast doesn't buff you, but there is that in the back of your mind that could work. And these can also work for PvP, not PvP, for raiding, because raiding, most good setups in raiding can take 1 turn. It doesn't take multiple turns to kill the raiding setup if you have the right raiding setup. If this medal had 40% raid damage on it, and you put on the first slot and you put Lux plus on it, you're golden. These can be very good raiding buffers. Instead of just bringing a Kyrie or Shion, who's not going to fill in the right Keyblade setups, who are not going to do a lot of damage, you probably have second chance on them. Instead of Lux plus on it, hardcore raiders probably have Lux plus on their Kyrie just to squeeze everything out. But these stained glass medals can be very good raiding medals. So increasing your Lux, increasing your power, because Lux is important now, gives you all those secret passives and stuff like that, to more strength, and every 50 levels, more jewels. So they do have a place, but for me, deep down, these are just not worth it, because when we compare them to anything that we pulled recently, you guys are going to see that there's just no point. So let me just rearrange this and go back to the foretellers. Foretellers, what do they do? For 1 turn, actually, you know what? Let me not show you here. Let's go to cookstracker.com. I'm going to bring you to cookstracker.com. Now, if you bring up Acid, Ava, Gula, well, not Acid. Acid was a bad example. Acid's just a pure tank. I mean, a pure beast. And so is Gula. He's attacking metal. But if you bring up stuff like Envy, Ava, or Era, you're going to see they have buffs. 8 general, 8 power, 8 upgrade, 8 general defense down. It's got 8 everything. With extra attack, you have maxed out buffs and debuffs, including your up right there. All in one metal, while having a huge multiplier of 69.30. It's got 69.30, and it can fit on the first slot. Now, taking consideration there is no reverse one here. It's for uprate, which does put for the other one a little bit better. But here's Envy. 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, all the way down for all of them. Power, magic, and speed. Defense up, strength up. You already have medals that are doing better. Even if you don't have 1 enemy left and you're facing a group, it still does 57.29. With 1 enemy left, 63.59. Then you got Ava, who does about the same thing too. 10 up for magic, 10 up for upright, but then you don't have the defense down. That's the only difference with Ava, but Ava gives that metal strength plus 1000, which means any metal can get plus 1000 from Ava. So you guys can see that the stained glass metals, they're situational, very situational. So if you are going to go for them, go for the ones that you're going to go for more like PvP setups and for raiding. For PvE, the no HP restore, the no gauges, the no ignore enemies gauges, that could be good sometimes because we can manipulate the gauges, so that actually might help in those situations, bringing a stained glass instead of Kyrie or Shion, because that way you can lower the gauges faster. But in most cases, these aren't worth the jewels. These aren't worth your Mickey and brooms, your magic mirrors, nothing like that. They're just there. If you do have 7 copies for some reason, a 7-star, then go right ahead. If you only want to pull once more for 3,000 jewels to make it 7-star, then go right ahead. But make sure that it fits that criteria of PvP, raiding, or maybe Colosseum. Not really, because the 9 multipliers and higher is really going to help compared to an 8.3. But it could tickle a little bit and do some damage there. But in 3-turn setups, it just doesn't have enough support. It doesn't have enough support to heal and to give you those gauges back to actually help you out for a full Keyblade setup. So to me, these medals are a skip. Foretellers are better. You've got other medals that already have buffs and debuffs that take care of themselves. All they're missing is general strength. They give magic metal strength plus 1,500, not just 1,000, because that was the biggest thing to going for these stained glass medals, is that they can give you plus 1,000 of depending on the power, magic, or speed. That's the best thing about them, is that they got that going on where Kyrie and Shion doesn't. That's going to be the main argument, that they're superior, but when you can't use them for multiple turns, it kind of hurts. But if you can use them in those 1-turn setups, magic metal strength plus 1,000, you put that along with the Aqua I just showed you, along with ultimate form sword, even for upright metals, depending if it's a 2 Keyblade setup, 2 colors, you guys can use this really, really well in those setups. But in just general use, they're going to fall off pretty quickly. They're only going to be very selective quests, and I think they're just not worth the jewels compared to the foretellers I just showed you, which have these buffs and debuffs, and they're super powerful, and they got a lot more going on for them. The thing is too, Supernova gives magic metal strength, but again, that's only for 1 turn. They can work. They're not terrible, but they are very situational. So to me, I do want to say, like I said in the beginning of the video, just skip them unless they fit this criteria for you of PvP or raiding. Then they're going to be very useful for you guys. But besides that, I rather just stick to my Kyrie and put all my buffers, because it's been working out beautifully this whole time. Kyrie and Shion has not let me down, except for that new Leviathan quest. All you gotta do is a copy metal with more gauges to copy your buffer. That's it. So that is pretty much it, guys. If you want to add anything else down below, if I missed anything, let me know. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Keep on smiling, and I'll smell you later.